Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Biden pledges response if Houthis continue outrageous behavior. Calls Yemen's Houthis a terrorist group after US and the UK strike Houthi targets in Yemen overnight. Polls open to elect a new president and legislature in Taiwan's critical elections watched closely by China. Voters to choose successor to Tsai Ing-wen. Spinners Kuldeep Yadav and Akshar Patel have been called up for the first two tests against England. The series begins on January 25th. US President Joe Biden called Yemen's Houthi forces a terrorist group on Friday after US and the UK struck Houthi targets in Yemen overnight.
We will make sure that we respond to the Houthis if they continue this outrageous behavior. It's irrelevant whether they're designated. We've put together a group of nations that are going to say that if they continue to act and behave as they do, we'll respond.
The United States and Britain on Friday defended to the UN Security Council the legality of strikes they launched against Houthis for attacking the Red Sea shipping route. The US and UK envoy said that the military strikes carried out against the Houthis in retaliation for the Yemeni group's attacks on ships in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, while Russia called the US and British operations disproportionate and illegal. Other countries expressed concerns that the strikes against 28 locations would stoke regional tensions.
The aim of these strikes was to disrupt and degrade the Houthis' ability to continue their reckless attacks against vessels and commercial shipping in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. These strikes were necessary and they were proportionate. Colleagues, the United States does not desire more conflict in a region already plagued by so much of it. Our aim is simple: to de-escalate tensions and restore stability in the Red Sea while upholding the fundamental principles of freedom of navigation.
The attacks by Houthis on vessels in the Red Sea must stop. We have made this clear to the Houthis, and we call on them to de-escalate. The United Kingdom is committed to continue working with the international community and this Council to combat this international threat. We have published a summary of our legal position on last night's strikes and have reported to the Council in writing in accordance with Article 51 of the UN Charter.
The US and the UK attacked Houthi targets in Yemen after Iran-backed group continued attacking ships in the Red Sea. The multinational operation was supported by Australia, Canada, the Netherlands and Bahrain. The strikes run the risk of widening the Israel-Hamas conflict in Gaza.
Consequences were promised and delivered as the US and the UK launched airstrikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. The strikes came in response to the group's attacks on ships in the Red Sea. Last month, the US formed a coalition of more than 20 nations called Operation Prosperity Guardian to deter the Houthis and protect commercial shipping lanes in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. A Houthi spokesperson said that 5 of its fighters had been killed in the strikes.
The American and British enemies bear full responsibility for their criminal aggression against our Yemeni people. It will not go unpunished or unanswered. The Yemeni armed forces will not hesitate to target threatening sources and all hostile targets on land and sea in order to defend Yemen, its sovereignty and independence.
Witnesses in Yemen confirmed explosions throughout the country, saying that raids targeted a military base adjacent to Sana'a airport. a military site near Taiz Airport, a Houthi naval base in Hodeidah, a Houthi naval base in Hodeidah, and military sites in Hajjar. The US says that the strikes were carried out by aircraft, ships, and a submarine. Prime Minister Rishi Sonak of the UK confirmed that the country's air force participated in the attacks. He said that the UK will stand up for freedom of navigation and free flow of trade.
Well, we've carried out a series of strikes together with allies which will, we believe, degrade and disrupt the capability. The types of things that we've targeted are launch sites for missiles and for drones. Initial indications are that those strikes have been successful. We'll continue to monitor the situation, but it's clear that this type of behaviour can't be met without a response. We need to send a strong signal that this breach of international law is wrong. People can't act like this with impunity, and that's why, together with allies, we've decided to take this action.
Australia, Canada, and the Netherlands supported the military operation by the US and the UK. Australian personnel were involved in the operation.
Australia's support of these actions came in the form of personnel in the operational headquarters. These are very important actions. The actions that have been taken today, supported by Australia, are about maintaining freedom of navigation on the high seas. They are about maintaining global trade. And that is completely central to Australia's national interest.
Japan supported the US and the UK actions.
Japan condemns the Houthi forces' continued actions that violate rights and free passage of vessels around Arabian Peninsula, including the Red Sea. Also, Japan supports the US and its allies' decision to fulfill their responsibilities in order to secure the free and safe passage of vessels.
But Saudi Arabia called for self-restraint and avoiding escalation. Russia sought an urgent meeting of the United Nations Security Council. US President Joe Biden said that he would not hesitate to take further action if needed. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar spoke to his US counterpart Anthony Blinken about maritime security, especially the Red Sea region. Bureau Report, DD India.
Israel has rejected South Africa's acquisitions at the United Nations top court, calling them grossly distorted. It also said that the court lacks jurisdiction over Israel-Hamas conflict. South Africa filed a lawsuit at the International Court of Justice, asking judges to impose emergency measures to immediately halt the fighting in Gaza. Israel told the court that its actions in the enclave are an act of self-defense against Hamas. Polls opened on Saturday in Taiwan's presidential and parliamentary elections. Taiwan has been a democratic success story since holding its first direct presidential election in 1996, the culmination of decades of struggle against authoritarian rule and martial law. The ruling Democratic Progressive Party, which champions Taiwan's separate identity and rejects China's territorial claims, is seeking a third term in office with its candidate, current Vice President Lai Ching-te. In the run-up to the election, China repeatedly denounced Lai as a dangerous separatist and rebuffed repeated calls from him for the talks. Lai says he is committed to preserving peace across the Taiwan Strait and keep boosting the island's defenses. Lai is facing two opponents for presidency: Hu Yui's of Taiwan's largest opposition party, the Kuomintang, and former Taipei Mayor Ko Wen-je of the small Taiwan People's Party, only founded in 2019. Our correspondent Patrick Folk joins us from Taiwan. Patrick, good morning. Now, we've seen how Taiwan has been a democratic success story since 1996, but help us understand how important are the polls this time around, given the international curiosity?
Yeah, these are being very, very closely watched indeed by the international community for a lot of different reasons. Taiwan plays a critical role in America's Indo-Pacific strategy. And, you know, essentially, if in the event of war, China were able to annex Taiwan successfully, then the US wouldn't be able to guarantee the sort of level of security that it needs to give to its allies in this part of the world. And one of the things that's also being talked about, as experts have estimated that any war in the Taiwan Strait could cost the global economy as much as $10 trillion because of the impact it would have on Taiwan's all-important semiconductor industry, as well as the disruptions to shipping lines as well. So for many different reasons, this is a crucial election, and that's why it's being watched so closely.
All right, Patrick, what are you picking up from the local populace there? We tell our viewers, we've just given a broad outline of the political contest to our viewers. Help us understand more about the contest in detail, and what are you picking up from the locals there?
Yeah, look, it's been a real lively week of campaign, and passions really do run deep among the voters, because they know that whoever wins will have a profound impact on the future direction of this island. And, you know, ahead of the vote, last night here in Taipei, all three candidates held rallies in a sort of final push to get people to come out and cast their ballots today. It is said that this is going to be a very tight contest, but just how tight isn't clear, because Taiwan, for one, doesn't allow any opinion polls in the final days leading up to the vote. But one thing that we do know is that the opposition candidates have been gaining ground on William Lai of the Democratic Progressive Party, which is seen by Beijing as separatists. And one wonders to what extent China's activities over the last few days and weeks and months really have had an impact on voters here. Just yesterday, Taiwan accused China of floating more hot air balloons across the strait, something that is previously described as cognitive warfare, and part of China's attempts to influence the outcome of this election. And, you know, also Taiwan's foreign minister came out following that on the platform X, saying that China should stop interfering in its elections. It said, frankly, China should stop interfering in other countries' elections and have a vote of its own. You know, if the DPP wins, this is likely to inflame tensions with China, but the Taiwanese government also says that, as a matter of fact, whoever wins, really, Beijing is going to maintain pressure on the island.
All right, Patrick, we leave it here. Thank you for joining in with those details. Let's turn focus to Russia-Ukraine crisis. Now, Ukraine and the UK signed a security agreement in Kyiv on Friday. It followed on from an agreement by the G7 to provide Ukraine with bilateral security assurances. The agreement formalizes a range of support, including intelligence, sharing, cybersecurity, medical and military training. President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine described it as an unprecedented security agreement.
The United Kingdom is announcing today our single biggest package of defence aid to Ukraine since the war began, worth £2.5 billion. This will include more air defence equipment, more anti-tank weapons, more long-range missiles, thousands of rounds more ammunition and artillery shells, training for thousands more Ukrainian servicemen and women, and £200 million to build thousands more drones.
British Prime Minister Rishi Sonak addressed the Ukrainian parliament during his visit to Kyiv on Friday. To enthusiastic applause, Sonak dubbed the parliament as the bravest in the world.
Thank you. We must prepare for this to be a long war. But I believe that there is hope for us in the echoes of Britain's own history. If 1940 was our finest hour, and Ukraine's was 2 years ago as you resisted the Russian invasion, then perhaps today is more like 1942. In the end, history tells us that democracies who endure will always prevail.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and British Prime Minister Rishi Sonak visited a military Feofania hospital in Kyiv on Friday and greeted the wounded soldiers. Zelensky awarded soldiers with medals, thanking them for their service to the country. The Ukrainian leader also met on Friday with the U.S. Special Representative for Ukraine's economic recovery, Penny Pritzker, and her team. Let's get to updates from Ecuador now. The police and army of the South American nation have stepped up security operations nationwide following a dramatic increase in violence this week. Over 20 people have been arrested by the armed forces in several raids so far. The Noboa administration has meanwhile asked lawmakers to weigh an increase in value-added tax to finance efforts to combat crime gangs. Ecuadorian president visited on Friday afternoon the television station TC in Guayaquil, which was stormed on Tuesday by an armed group during a live broadcast. Noboa spoke to the workers and reported victims of the violent attack and toured the studios where the armed hooded men broke in. A dramatic spike in violence this week, including the on-air storming of a television station, the hostage-taking of 178 prison staff by inmates, and the kidnapping of police officers, appears to be a response by gangs to President Daniel Noboa's plans to tackle a dire security situation. Noboa, who took office in November, has declared a state of emergency and named 22 gangs as terrorist organizations. A quick look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world. The U.S. state of Iowa is bracing for blizzard conditions as heavy wind and snow blasted across the area on Friday. A storm warning has been issued across the state with freezing conditions. The heavy snow comes ahead of Monday's caucus as the state's traditional primary season kicks off. Scientists have warned of a staggering trend of scorching heat after 2023 emerged as the world's hottest year on record. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration said that there was a 1 in 3 chance that 2024 would be warmer than 2023 and a 99% chance that it would rank among the 5 warmest on record. The Academy of Television Arts and Sciences on Friday gave a glimpse of what goes on behind the scenes before the upcoming 75th Emmy Awards in Los Angeles. Now, this year's show will be hosted by 11-time Emmy nominee Anthony Anderson. It is also the Emmys that are for the first time produced by an all-African-American production team. The 2024 Primetime Emmy will broadcast on January 15th. Up next, we're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Live, the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra continues to traverse different corners of the country. Currently in Banihal in Jammu and Kashmir, the Yatra continues to apprise people about the government welfare measures. And we get you ahead the softer side of our valiant security personnel. BSF personnel celebrated Festival of Lohri along with the locals in India's Jammu and Kashmir. India faces tough Australia challenge in the AFC Asian Cup.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. Let's get you more updates in a key diplomatic visit. Emmanuel Bon, the diplomatic advisor to French President Emmanuel Macron, is on a one-day visit to Delhi. He met India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. Both the leaders spoke about strong India-France convergence on multiple issues. Both also shared perspectives on global developments of mutual concern. Underlining the significance of the Trade Policy Forum in forging robust bilateral trade ties and in enhancing the overall economic relationship, 14th ministerial level meeting of the India-United States Trade Policy Forum was held in New Delhi on Friday. Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal and U.S. Trade Representative Ambassador Catherine Tai chaired the meeting. Both the leaders welcomed the strong momentum in India-US bilateral trade in goods and services, which continue to rise and likely surpassed $200 billion in the calendar year 2023, despite a challenging global trade environment. They acknowledged that considering the size of their economies, significant potential remains unrealized and expressed their mutual desire to further enhance engagement with the goal of continuing to increase and diversify bilateral trade. In this regard, the ministers underlined the significance of the TPF in forging a robust economic relationship. The United States welcomed India's decision to reduce the timeline for reaching 20% ethanol blending with petrol from 2030 to 2025 and for the launch of the Global Biofuels Alliance as well as the India-US Biofuels Task Force. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval on Friday said that Mahatma Gandhi was not against the use of hard power against the British in India's freedom struggle. The National Security Advisor said that Mahatma Gandhi was a great strategist and a warrior who could effectively use soft power against a mightier power, the Britishers, in an asymmetric war during the freedom struggle. He was speaking at the launch of the book Gandhi, A Life in Three Campaigns by former minister and writer M.J. Akbar.
I'm not very sure how much Gandhi really consciously was fully opposed to the people who were exercising the hard power. He did not support them. He did not stand by them. But probably he was not that much against both. Let it coexist. He was not also against probably some of the revolutionaries. He did not approve their ways, but he did not condemn them, both for their intent and for this thing. It added that soft power blended with this hard power actually became the India's smart power.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the country's longest bridge, the Atal Setu in Mumbai. It is also the longest sea bridge in India. He also laid the foundation stone of development projects in Navi Mumbai. Shama Mishra and Shishir Shelar get us these details.
January 12, 2024 marks a date with history in transport infrastructure development in India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the country's longest bridge, Atal Setu, in financial capital of Mumbai. The bridge, which is also the longest sea bridge in the country, will strengthen urban transport infrastructure and connectivity. It will improve the ease of mobility of citizens. Prime Minister said that it will enhance the ease of living for citizens. The bridge is about 21.8 kilometer long with 6-lane bridges having about 16.5 kilometer length over sea and about 5.5 kilometer on the land. It has been constructed at a total cost of more than 17,840 crore rupees, which is about $2.1 billion. The foundation stone of the bridge was laid by the Prime Minister in December 2016. The bridge will provide faster connectivity to Mumbai International Airport and Navi Mumbai International Airport and will also reduce the time of travel from Mumbai to Pune, Goa and South India. Later in the afternoon, the Prime Minister also participated in a public program in Navi Mumbai. He laid the foundation stone of multiple development projects worth more than 12,000 crore rupees or $1.5 billion. These projects are the underground road tunnel connecting Eastern Freeway's Orange Gate to Marine Drive. The 9.2-kilometer tunnel will be built at a cost of more than 8,700 crore rupees or more than $1 billion. The tunnel will reduce travel time between Orange Gate and Marine Drive. Prime Minister also dedicated Phase 1 of the Surya Regional Bulk Drinking Water Project to the nation. During the program, the Prime Minister also dedicated about 2,000 crore rupees or $241 million railway project to the nation. Prime Minister also inaugurated the Bharat Ratnam or the Mega Common Facilitation Centre for Gems and Jewellery sector at Santa Cruz Electronic Export Processing Zone. It is the first of its kind in India with best available machines in the world including 3D metal printing. Prime Minister also inaugurated the New Enterprises and Services Tower. Namo Mahila Sashaktikaran Abhiyan to empower women in the state of Maharashtra was also launched today. Prime Minister termed these development projects as examples of good governance.
आज यहाँ देश के मुंबई और महाराष्ट्र के विकास से जुड़े हुए 33,000 करोड़ रुपए के प्रोजेक्ट का शिलान्यास और लोकार्पण हुआ है। ये प्रोजेक्ट रोड, रेल, मेट्रो, पानी जैसी सुविधाओं से जुड़े हुए हैं। आज व्यापार जगत को मजबूती देने वाली आधुनिक भारत रत्नम और नेक्स्ट वन बिल्डिंग भी मुंबई के लिए को मिली है। इसमें से अधिकतर प्रोजेक्ट तब शुरू हुए थे जब महाराष्ट्र में पहली बार डबल इंजन की सरकार बनी थी। इसलिए महाराष्ट्र में देवेंद्र जी से लेकर के अब एकनाथ शिंदे जी अतीत पवार जी तक पूरी टीम के प्रयासों का परिणाम है। मैं उन सबको बधाई देता हूं।
Earlier, the Prime Minister also visited an exhibition of Atal Setu after inaugurating India's longest sea bridge. These development projects aim to empower each citizen of the country and make a bold resolution to bring India closer to its goal of becoming a developed nation by 2024. With Bureau inputs, Shyam Mishra and Maharash, along with Sheshir Salar, reporting for DD India.
The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is being undertaken across India with the aim to inform people about the government welfare measures by ensuring that their benefits reach the targeted beneficiaries in a time-bound manner. The Yatra has reached India's Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. The IEC van arrived in Ramban district, where the local communities welcomed it with great enthusiasm. On this occasion, several beneficiaries shared their progressive stories under Meri Kahani, Meri Zubani. A quick look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. India's security personnel of BSF celebrated the festival of Lohri along with the local people in India's Jammu and Kashmir on the India-Pakistan international border. Lohri is a popular Indian festival that celebrates the beginning of the harvest season for winter crops. It is celebrated on January 13th or 14th every year. It is a joyous occasion marked by bonfires, music, dancing and sweets. People dress in colorful clothes and gather around bonfires to sing songs. In the Indian state of Punjab, more than 95,000 pilgrims visited the historic Gurdwara Sri Kartarpur Sahib across the border last year through the Sri Kartarpur Sahib corridor. The corridor is providing an opportunity to the people, especially the Sikh pilgrims, to visit the historical Gurdwara Kartarpur Sahib located in Pakistan. It is also becoming a way for the families separated during partition to reunite, and about 23 such families have come together at Gurdwara Sri Kartarpur Sahib to refresh their past memories. In sports, spinners Kuldeep Yadav and Akshar Patel having been included in the Indian team, while wicketkeeper Dhruv Jurel earned his maiden call-up for the first two tests against England. 22-year-old Jurel joins incumbent KL Rahul and KS Bharat as the third keeper in the squad. The 5-match series against England will begin in Hyderabad on January 25th and will be part of the World Test Championship. The Indian football team will take on Australia as they embark on their Group B journey in the AFC Asian Cup tournament in Qatar. Australia come into the Asian Cup as one of the pre-tournament favourites, having won the competition in 2015. Australia had defeated India 4-0 in their earlier encounter in the 21 edition. That's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.